Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to 7.3.4 Paradox path that is going to be Entropic Generator, Quantum Invasion and Special Delivery. Now jumping right into the nodes, Paradox buff is whenever you will get a buff on yourself, you will get +1 Paradox charge, and also there is going to be Parry Vulnerability, so whenever the opponent is under the effects of parry, he's gonna take extra damage by 200%. Other one is going to be Quantum Invasion, so the defender will be unblockable unless there are going to be 3 or more Paradox charges on the attacker, and Quantum Generator is that attacker will gain 20% extra combat power rate for every Paradox charge on them, and you can remove the charge by using light hit combos ending with light attack. So light, medium, light, however you want it. The fourth hit should be a light and you can remove one of those charges. The boss that we're going to attempt is going to be a Symbiote Supreme, and all the options that can be used are there. Big thank you for Virat for giving out the info on using stun lock champions. They work really well on this path. So apart from that, the masteries that I'm going to run are going to be without suicides. My defense and utility is going to be the same, and I usually keep 7 points stashed away so I can use them when I need to do arena or I need to do AQ. So this is going to be my setup, and let's jump right into the path, guys. But before we do, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel and turn on those post notifications. All of that really helps me out a lot and helps me grow the channel. The first fight is going to be against a Venom. Now he will start as unblockable, so might be a bit difficult for you to remove the buffs on him and get yourself some buffs. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to dex back and get 3 Paradox buffs on me. Once I have that, you will notice that his unblockable has gone away, so I will then easily just build up to an SP2 and just throw that and keep using that with the sustain on Black Widow Clairvoyant. Remember that 1 buff on you gives you 1 Paradox charge, and if you end a combo with light attack, that is going to reduce 1 Paradox charge, and with every Paradox charge that you have, your combat power rate is going to be increased by 20%. so a sweet spot would be to keep it between 3 to 8, but I would suggest not go up till 8. 4 to 6 will be a good place to be, so you can use that to advantage. And I'm just going to use only light attack combo, so you will notice that my immunity will change from bleed to poison to as well as incinerate. So all of that is part of keeping the Paradox charges in sync. Now you can use other champions as well. Magic works, Doom works as well, anybody that can control his charges, or you can also power lock him. You can use somebody like Gambit. You can also use Spider-Man Stark Enhanced with Miles Morales, so it's your choice, guys. I would suggest you to run assassins here so you can easily finish off the last 18% quickly, and also you will need dexterity, which is obvious at this point, everybody will have it, but try to use champions that do not gain much buffs, and then you can easily control the fight. If you bring in cosmic champions or champions that can gain a lot of buffs, you will not be able to control them, and the Paradox will explode on top of you and give you a lot of damage. But this way I am just going to go into the next fight, carry over these 5 charges, and they will help me finish off the remaining path easy. I would suggest you to bring in 2 champions, one that is going to be a mystic and the other one that is going to be a mutant, so you can easily run through the path and you don't have to build charges again and again. So my 2 champions will be Black Widow Clairvoyant and as well as Apocalypse. I'm gonna build Paradox charges on them, and I'm gonna take them into the next fights. Next fight is going to be against the Daredevil's Hell's Kitchen. Now with him you need to be careful because he will shrug off your debuffs very quick, so just be wary that if your parry doesn't stick, wait for it before you go back in. But if you're going to use a champion that can bypass Purify, that is going to be really good. So for example, Apocalypse is a good option. You can also use Storm Pyramid Axe. Also Omega Red works once he has 10 of his spores, because every spore he will reduce the chance of Purify by 10%. And you can also always bring in White Magneto. Other champions that can work here can be Rogue, can also be Domino and Archangel as well. So it's your choice, guys, but just try to bring in champions that do not have much buffs, so you can just use your dexterity and keep the paradox charge is in control, because remember, one buff will give you one paradox charge, and if you end your combo with a light attack, that will reduce one. So just sweet spot is going to be 4 to 6, and that would really make the path super easy for you. As you see, Apocalypse is just running through Daredevil's Hell's Kitchen. Now by this time you should have your Black Widow Clairvoyant or any other champion with enough paradox charges, so your vision does not start with an unblockable. In my case there were 8 charges, so now I'm 6 charges. Now I'm using my light attacks to keep them under control, and at the end of it I'm gonna use my special 2, and that's gonna put buff immunity on Vision Arkus, so he won't be getting those power gain buffs, and he won't be able to he won't be able to armor break me or cold snap me. So you can use a similar champion as well, like for example Doom works really well here. You can also bring in champions like Tigra. You can also use She-Hulk here, and you can constantly throw specials. Another champion that works really well is going to be Cold Snap immune champion, so you can use Human Torch as well. So there are quite a few different champions that you can use. They can either be armor break immune, or they can be champions with stagger or nullify, or they can be Cold Snap immune. All of those champions well, but I like using Black Widow Clairvoyant here because of her sustain when she is bleed immune, so she can just carry me through the fight easily. One thing to remember though, you're gonna have parry vulnerability on the defender, so whenever the defender is stunned via parry, he's gonna take extra damage, and it will give you a fury as well, increasing your damage too. But remember, once you do get a fury, that is also counted as a buff. So if you are at 8 paradox charges and you parry, that's gonna explode on the 9th one and give you quite a lot of damage. So just be careful about that. What you could do, once you have 4 to 5 charges on you, you can just use parry and just use 4-hit light attack combo to remove that, and use your specials at the same time, so that can help as well. So just be wary about that. Parry vulnerability with fury is also there to mess up your paradox charges. Try to keep them between 4 and 6, and everything else will be alright. Next defender is going to be a Black Widow Deadly Origin. She is not really difficult to deal with. Her specials both can be easily evaded. Just don't get hit by her, because the shock damage would really kill you off very quick. So some good champions that can use against her are Apocalypse. Also your shock immune champions. Your any mutant champions will work as well. Also your stun lock champions will also work, because she cannot shrug them off. And also Ghost is a good option. So again, by this time you should have enough paradox charges built. If not, you can bring in champions that have miss, so for example Horde, or for example your Ghost, and you can use that to build up your charges. But again, this is the 4th fight in the path. By this time you should have the paradox charges ready to go, and the defender will not be unblockable when the fight starts. So this is one of the annoying fights in the path, that is going to be against a Hyperion with his constant power gains, and also you need to keep a track of those special delivery and as well as those paradox charges, so you will need to throw specials, but try to bring in champions that can power control him. So Doom, Symbiote Supreme, Magic, and as well as Black Widow Clairvoyant. All of these champion works. You can also power lock him because he cannot shrug off those debuffs, or you can also bring in Ghost with Hood and you can tank those SP3s, or even Kingpin with Dr. Sinister. They can power lock whenever Hyperion will throw a special attack. So there are plenty of different options you can use. Just try to keep the paradox charges between 3 to 8 and you will do just fine on this fight. And the final defender is going to be a Nick Fury. Now he is annoying on its own, and then you have to deal with special delivery and you also have to deal with paradox. So there's so much going on in this fight, so I would really suggest you to just bring in a mutant champion so you don't have to worry about the tactical charges. Now in my case it's going to be an Apocalypse, and I'm going to use him to kill him off. You can also bring in champions that have power lock, but remember on the second life he becomes stun immune, so he's bound to throw an SP3 on your face. So again, I would suggest mutant champions that can just go parry, and heavy can work here as well. Remember that every time you get a buff you will get one paradox charge, and whenever you use a combo ending with light attack you can reduce one of it. So again, it's not really difficult if played right, and I would highly suggest you to have a mutant champion on your team and you can get through this fight relatively easily. It might cost you 1 or 2 champions, but that's okay. It's still Nick Fury. He is one of the harder defenders in the game. The boss fight is going to be against the Symbiote Supreme with ebb and flow knockdowns, so he will have a protection on him unless you knock him down. Only then he will get 100% damage, otherwise the damage will reduce by 90%. So what I like to do is to take him to a corner just like that and spam my heavy attacks. And then he has feats of power, so he will get fury buff or precision buff whenever he gets to 1 or 2 bars of power, and you cannot change his power gain rate. He's going to be power gain rate immune, so just be wary about that. And whenever you will knock him down for 2 seconds plus every buff that is on him, 1 second for each of them, he will go stun immune. So again, you won't be able to parry, and you try not to dex much because that will give you a buff on you, and he can nullify that and give you a lot of damage. So use champions that are immune to nullify and stagger effects. So for example, like Thing, Overseer, or Hulk with Hulkbuster synergy. Mr. Negative also works really well here. Also another good champion that can work is going to be Red Guardian, because he does not gain any buffs, so Symbiote Supreme will not have anything to nullify. In my case, I am going to use a Human Torch, and you will notice that I'm trying not to dex and not get that buff, because he can just nullify and give me huge damage. I'm just trying to keep him to a corner, block his SP1, and then create a distance, and not letting him go to an SP2. Even if he goes to an SP2, I will just simply block it out and get those smolders up, and with those smolders and heavy attack spam, he will be knocked down and the ebb and flow protection will be removed, and I'll be able to kill him off. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those post notifications. All of that really helps me out a lot, guys, and helps me grow the channel. And apart from that, guys, I hope you all have an amazing day, and I'll see you next time.